I came back, and then obviously like, okay, they said, okay, you got a job, but then you try to phone him. There's not really like, it wasn't as connected as now, right? So try to phone him. He doesn't really answer the phone straight away. So I was kind of doubting. So about 3 weeks went by. And then I ended up at Rip Curl. And I met up with Francois. That's where Rip Curl was growing a lot. That's where there's people everywhere. And Francois was there. And Francois said like, okay, I heard, apparently you speak a lot of languages. So, you can probably do something. I'm going to go to Bali now. And I'll be back in 6 months. You find a desk and you find something to do in marketing. In 2012, Michael Daly comes to France and he asks me what I want to do, where I see myself in 5 years. So I tell him a little bit as a joke, well, in 5 years, maybe I can run the joint, And they invite me over to Australia and they go like, okay, you're going to go through a training program. I said, well, why not? And then in the end of the 3 weeks, he went like, okay, Wilco, what's good about you is that you're a little bit less complicated than the French. I offer you the job. So that's how I kind of got the job. We're very lucky because there was 3 of us. There was Jan Choumi, Mathieu Lefin, and myself. And the mission was to kind of, to refocus the brand on being the ultimate surfing company, So that's when we started, what we talked about earlier, started really about rationalizing the company in terms of, product, people, and distribution. So surfing today is a reflection of society. So it can be anything, So obviously back in the day, it was, let's say it was a bunch of hippies, living on the beach surfing, and then competitive surfing comes into it. So you have those two things that live together. Today it's basically anything, right? It's influencers, social media, wave pools. There's a lot of things happening, but at that point, there's always been a clear willingness of the founders of Rip Curl to have a world champion. But those things, they could live together. And then, when Francois had the idea of doing the Search CT, they kind of put them together, and it worked pretty well, especially when they did that event in Mexico, Sometimes they come together, I start talking with a few brands. But then through a friend, Arnaud Guérin, who obviously worked for TNC, he put me in contact with Adam Borello, who's the head of licensing and for TNC. And that's when we started discussing. And, I would go to the North Shore every December, to the Rip Curl. And I would see TNC. It's like a very strong brand in Hawaii. And that ticks a lot of boxes, So you have a very strong logo. You have a key products, which is surfboards. I felt as well as that there was still a lot of sympathy for the brand, here in Europe, even it didn't exist. It did not disappear either because it was still existing in Hawaii, I think that surfing deserves to be in a better space than it is today. So I don't think surfing that has to be in a, I'm going to say it in French, but a tête de gondole with a t-shirt at $9.99. I think there's something we can create around surfing that in a different distribution network with good products. I knew that it's really hard to make a good surfboard, and there's very little money for anyone in surfboard. So that was already pretty clear before we started, Our choice was to focus on custom surfboards and, to make great boards. I think multi-brand will become more important again, because I think it's also good for someone who goes into a store to have a choice, between good products. And, the discussion we had earlier from buying specific products from a brand and a head to toe, I think it's good to have a good assortment with, the key brands for each kind of category.